between Kirk Frost and Rasheeda has just reached a whole new level, and fans are absolutely losing their minds. Just when we thought things couldn't get any crazier, Kirk has dropped a bombshell that has everyone talking. He is outright refusing to accept Rasheeda's baby. That's right, Kirk is standing his ground, claiming the child isn't his, and the drama is unfolding in the most shocking way possible. After the rumors of Rasheeda's alleged involvement with another man surfaced, speculation ran wild, but no one expected Kirk to take things this far. He's not just questioning things privately, he's making bold statements, distancing himself from Rasheeda, and sending a clear message. That baby is not mine. And trust me, his reaction is causing a massive stir, dividing their family and their fan base like never before. But what exactly led to this moment? Did Rasheeda confess to something? Or is Kirk just looking for a way out of this relationship? With accusations flying, heated confrontations erupting, and shocking revelations coming to light, this situation is spiraling out of control fast. Stay tuned, because the details we're about to uncover will leave you speechless. The tension in the Frost household had been building for weeks, but tonight, it finally exploded into a full-blown war. Kirk Frost sat on the edge of the couch, his arms crossed tightly over his chest, jaw clenched as he stared at Rasheeda with a look of pure disbelief. The air between them was thick with unspoken accusations, and
Where are we?
Hey, which way y'all think?
We are sailing on the catamaran in Los Cobos.
Mexico, Cabo.
Let's go there then. Rasheeda is mad at the wrong person. The reason why we haven't been able to have a conversation is because you've held me accountable and not him. So I'm confused. Like, what are you?
Despite Rasheeda's repeated attempts to calm him down, Kirk wasn't having any of it. I don't know why you keep looking at me like that, Kirk. Rasheeda snapped, her voice trembling with frustration. She was trying to keep her composure, but the stress was taking its toll on her. You're acting like I did something wrong when I haven't done a damn thing but try to keep this family together. Kirk let out a dry, humorless laugh, one that made Rasheeda's stomach churn. This wasn't the man she fell in love with. This was someone colder, harder, more distant than ever before. Family? You want to talk about family now? Rasheeda, are you serious? His eyes darkened with anger, a rage that had been simmering just beneath the surface. You've been walking around here with a secret, and now you want me to just act like everything is fine. Nah, I can't do that. Not this time. Rasheeda's heart pounded. She knew exactly what Kirk was talking about. Ever since the rumors of her alleged involvement with another man had started making the rounds, she had been trying to do damage control, but the whispers kept growing louder. The more she tried to reassure Kirk, the more distant he became. But the truth was, Kirk had already made up his mind. His trust in her was shattered. And Kirk dodged the pillow easily, his expression unchanged. Maybe I don't, he muttered under his breath. Maybe I never did. A tense silence filled the room, both of them breathing heavily, both of them standing on the edge of something neither of them knew how to fix. The love they once shared seemed distant, almost like it belonged to another time, another life. And then, just as Rasheeda was about to storm out of the room, Kirk dropped another bombshell. I want a paternity test, he said, his voice firm and steady. And until I get those results, I'm not claiming nothing. Rasheeda's breath hitched. A paternity test? Was he serious? Did he really think she had been unfaithful? After all the years of loyalty, after all the times she had forgiven him for his mistakes, this was where they ended up. Kirk, you can't be serious, she whispered, her voice barely audible. She felt like the ground had been pulled out from under her. She had always feared that one day Kirk's doubts and insecurities would push them to this point, but she never truly believed it would happen. And now, here they were, but the look in his eyes told her everything she needed to know. Oh, he was serious, and their marriage would never be the same again. Rasheeda turned her back to him, her body trembling with the weight of it all. She could feel his gaze burning into her, but she couldn't face him anymore. Not like this. Everything they had built was crumbling, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Rasheeda stood frozen in place, her heart hammering against her ribs. She couldn't believe what she just heard. A paternity test? After all these years, after everything they had endured as a couple, Kirk was actually questioning the legitimacy of her child. The weight of his words settled deep in her chest like a stone, making it almost impossible to breathe. Slowly, she turned back to face him, her expression a mix of pain and fury. You really want to go there, Kirk? Really? After all the dirt you've done, after all the times you stepped out on me, you have the nerve to question me. Kirk exhaled sharply, rubbing his hands over his face in frustration. Rasheeda, stop flipping this on me. This ain't about the past. This is about right now. And right now, I got doubts. I got real, serious doubts. Her few days, the house was a war zone. They barely spoke, barely even looked at each other. The tension was so thick, even their friends noticed something was off. Carly Red was the first to call Rasheeda. Girl, what the hell is going on? I heard Kirk talking reckless at the studio, saying he don't think the baby is his. Tell me that ain't true. Rasheeda exhaled sharply, gripping the phone tight. Oh, it's true. This man really got the nerve to question me, Carly. After all the years of his mess, I'm the one being doubted? Carly was silent for a moment before she let out a loud, exaggerated gasp. Oh, hell no. You need to check him, Rasheeda. You ain't no damn side chick. You his wife. He better put some respect on your name. I already told him, Rasheeda muttered, pacing the living room. I agreed to the test, but Carly, it ain't even about that no more. It's about the principle. He don't trust me, and I don't know if I can forgive that. Meanwhile, Kirk was having his own conversation with Scrappy. Bro, I ain't trying to be that dude, Scrappy said, shaking his head. But you sure about this? You really think she would do you like that? Kirk exhaled, rubbing the bridge of his nose. I want to believe her, Scrap, but something ain't sitting right, and I ain't about to be out here raising another man's kid like a damn fool. Scrappy leaned back, arms crossed. Man, I hear you. But you gotta ask yourself, if you wrong, you ready to deal with the fallout? Kirk didn't answer, because deep down he knew if he was wrong about this, if he had doubted Rasheeda for nothing, he might lose her forever. The day of the test came faster than either of them expected. They barely spoke on the way to the clinic, both lost in their own thoughts. Rasheeda sat with her arms crossed, staring out the window, while Kirk tapped his foot anxiously against the floor. Last chance to back out, Rasheeda said as they pulled into the parking lot. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with an unspoken challenge. Kirk shook his head. Nah, we doing this. They walked inside, the silence between them deepening. Neither of them knew what the results would bring, but one thing was certain. No matter what, the relationship would never be the same again. The clinic smelled like antiseptic and cold air, an uncomfortable mix that only made the tension between them worse. Rasheeda sat stiffly in the waiting area, arms crossed tightly over her chest, her nails digging into her skin. Kirk sat beside her, his leg bouncing anxiously, his face set in stone. Neither of them spoke, but the silence screamed louder than any argument they had ever had. When the nurse finally called their names, Rasheeda stood up first, her movements sharp and controlled. Kirk followed, keeping a small distance between them as if afraid that even the air between them would explode. The nurse led them into a private room where a doctor was already waiting. He was an older man, his face kind but professional, his eyes flicking between the two of them like he could sense the war brewing beneath. The room felt like it shrank around them. And? Kirk asked, his throat dry. There was a pause. Then, the test confirms that you are indeed the biological father. Silence. Kirk felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Rasheeda just stared at him, no emotion on her face. The call ended. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, you happy now? Rasheeda whispered. Kirk opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He was wrong. He had doubted his own wife, his own family, and for what? Rasheeda, No, she cut him off, standing up. You broke us, Kirk. And now? She shook her head, her voice thick with emotion. Now I don't think we can ever be fixed. Kirk felt his heart drop, because for the first time in his life, he realized he might have just lost the best thing that ever happened to him. Kirk sat frozen, his heart hammering in his chest. The truth was out. Rasheeda hadn't lied, she hadn't betrayed him, and she sure as hell hadn't done anything to deserve the humiliation he had put her through. And now she couldn't even look at him without that pain in her eyes. He opened his mouth to say something, anything, but Rasheeda had already turned away. She wasn't giving him a chance to. Rasheeda kept her gaze on the baby. Then don't. He swallowed hard. I need you to know how sorry I am. She let out a bitter laugh. Sorry? Her voice was quiet, but it cut deep. Kirk, do you even realize what you did? You didn't just hurt me, you humiliated me. You let the world think I was out here cheating on you. You out from under him. Rasheeda, don't say that. I need space. She wiped at her face, taking a deep breath. I'm taking the baby to my mom's for a few days. Kirk's stomach dropped. Wait, what? She grabbed the diaper bag from the corner of the room, slinging it over her shoulder. I just need time to think. To breathe? Rasheeda, please. He reached for her hand, but she pulled away. Don't leave like this. Let's talk. There's nothing left to say, Kirk. She walked past him, out of the nursery, down the stairs. Kirk followed, desperation clawing at his throat. At the door, she turned back one last time. You need to figure out who you are, Kirk, and I need to figure out if I can ever forgive you. And then she was gone. Kirk stood there, staring at the closed door, his chest tightening with every second that passed. He had spent years fighting to keep this marriage together. But now he wasn't sure if he had finally lost Rasheeda for good. Y'all, this situation is beyond messy. Kirk and Rasheeda have been through it all, but this might just be the breaking point. I mean, after everything, can their marriage even survive this level of betrayal? Will Rasheeda ever forgive Kirk, or is this the moment she finally walks away for good? And let's not forget the baby in the middle of all this. Will Kirk step up and make things right? Or is this the beginning of a whole new drama waiting to unfold? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and you already know the internet is gonna have a lot to say about it. So now we want to hear from you. Do you think Kirk deserves another chance? Should Rasheeda forgive him, or is it time for her to finally move on? Drop your thoughts.